Managing Dharma Sankatas, a perspective from Mahabharata. Our first presenter today is Ami Ganatra ji. Ami Ganatra is the author of Mahabharata Unraveled, lesser-known facts of a well-known history, and Ramayana Unraveled, lesser-known facts of Rishi Valmiki's epic. She is an alumni of Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and has over 15 years of experience in business strategy and consulting, living across 4 continents and working across a multitude of sectors. In her personal life, she is a devout yoga practitioner and a certified yoga instructor. She is also a student of Sanskrit and Indian knowledge systems, an avid traveler. She loves to explore places and cultures. She chronicles her travel experiences and musings related to Indic wisdom on dharmorakshatirakshitah.wordpress.com. Ami Ganatra ji, we welcome you.
Suprabhatam, Jai Shri Krishna, everybody. Very, very happy to be here. Thanks a lot, Anupama ji, for considering me worthy enough to be amongst this esteemed panel of speakers. We saw yesterday, we were swimming, drenched in the Vachanamrut of the speakers. So I was like, Arey baap re, how do I and what do I say? Okay. How do I and what do I say? But then one thing which Pankaj ji said yesterday gave me a lot of hope. Even if you all think कि क्या बकवास कर रही है, Pankaj said, बकवास में भी वाक है. तो बकवास में भी वाक है. So I'm still sthita in some kind of वाक. That makes me happy. So thank you Pankaj ji for giving me that confidence that I can get away with what I do here. The other thing is I'm going to talk about Mahabharata, but also I think I told myself that Krishna has brought me till here. Krishna will see me through. So, idam Krishnasya idam na mama, idam Krishnaya idam na mama. Mahabharata. We all know Mahabharata. We know the stories of Mahabharata. Dharma Sankat, nobody is surprised. The biggest Dharma Sankat that we always speak of, kaun sa hai? Which is the Dharma Sankat? Everybody speaks about that. Come on. Arjun Vishada Yoga. Arjun is a warrior. Arjun is a kshatriya. He has always been one. Yesterday, I think Vinay told us, he is always ready for competition. Always willing to fight. And suddenly, the war that he was waiting for 13 years of his life, that is going to happen, and here he is. Senayor ubhayor madhye, standing between 2 armies, not knowing what to do. Because in front of him is his kutumba, his people, and he has to fight them. Now, this is a very real problem. Nobody came out very happy of this war. Let's understand that. Of course, the Kauravas were nashta, but Pandavas lost all their sons and grandsons. It was not a happy ending for them either. Yeah? So it was a very genuine problem. How do you navigate through this? Because many times in life, we are faced with situations where it's like the devil and the deep sea. Both options are not optimal, but we still have to decide. How do we decide? That is where our itihasa comes to help us. And hence, I will be taking some examples from Mahabharata. But before I come to that, itihasa is very, very important. Okay? Why? Because itihasa has a purpose. And itihasa has to be known in the way it is told to us by Rishi Valmiki and Rishi Vyasa. I will not go into who they are because Vinay did an excellent job of introducing them yesterday. Itihasa is defined as Dharma Artha Kama Mokshanam Upadesham Samanvitam Purva Vruttam Katha Yuktam Itihasam Prachakshate. Purva Vruttam, that which happened in the past. That which happened in the past. Underline that. So when you are told your history is not your history, go back and tell them this. Our rishis were very clear about what they were leaving with us. Yeah? Katha Yuktam. It is told in a katha format. So that it's easily understandable to everybody. Abhi, when you do management, you have case studies. Right? It's easier to understand theory through case studies. So what is itihasa? Dharma Artha Kama Mokshanam Upadesham Samanvitam. It is meant to give us lessons of our Chaturvidha Purushartha, the goals of life. right? And how itihasa is actually a case study of wisdom. How do we live our life? How do we navigate our life? And that is why, if we want to get the right lessons from itihas, we have to know the itihas for what it is. How do we know the itihas? Well, there is always a question mark there, right? So the one thing which we can do is say, acha, when it comes to itihas, we will refer back to Valmiki Ramayan and Vyasa Rachit Mahabharat. So that's my starting point today. Whatever I'll talk about will be based on Vyasa Rachit Mahabharat. No retellings. Retellings se kuch nahi hai. Because if you go by retellings, then, like we have this decolonization process going on, we'll all need to do a dekarnization process. We all think Karna is great, right? So anyways, we'll talk about that a little bit. Now, before coming to Dharma Sankata and all that, do we know what Dharma itself is to begin with? What is Dharma? Anybody? If you have to tell me what is Dharma, kya batayenge aap? Very good, very good. Aur kuch? Very good. Paropakaraya punyaya. Yes, what else? You're not allowed to speak. Yeah. Performing your duties. So let's understand the word dharma. Dhru, the root word. We all know Sanskrit is based on root words. So the root word of dharma is dhru. What else has the root word dhru? Dharati. Okay? Dharati has the root word dhru. What does dharati do? Because of dharti, we all exist. Dharti upholds us. Dharti sustains us. Dhru dharane, that which upholds and that which sustains. We talk about sustainability and we think it's a new term, new age. Dharma is sustainability. And what is the definition of dharma? Dharanat dharmiti ahu, dharmo dharayati praja, yahasyat dharana sayuktam, saha dharma iti nishchayaha. That which is dharana sayukta, that which leads to the sustainability principle, that is dharma. Prabhavarthaya bhutanam dharma pravachanam krita. Yahasyat prabhava sayuktam saha dharma iti nishchayaha. Prabhava is upliftment, prabhava is welfare. Welfare of what? Sustenance of what? But that is the question, right? What is the sustenance that we are talking about? Of course, on a larger scale, the samaj, the universe, it should keep going on, right? It should keep going on. So in that sense, dharma, as I said, is the sustainability principle in the larger sense. But how do I make sense of it? What is in it for me? Yesterday, there was a beautiful question which a girl asked. She said, "Acha, theek hai, aap ye sab itihas, ye sab baat karte ho, shastro ki baat karte ho, very nice. But how do I make sense of it? What does it mean for me?" Right? That is eventually the question we ask. How do I make use of that wisdom that is left to me by my ancestors? So let's understand what sustenance are we talking about, yeah? We all are a part of some systems. Even a family is a system. For the sustenance of a family, all the involved stakeholders, now I'm a consultant by profession, so please don't mind my jargon, yeah? All the involved stakeholders in the family, kon, pita, putra, mata, putri, grandfathers, everybody. If that family unit has to survive, every single stakeholder has to perform their duties, dharma. If everybody says my way or highway, will that family unit survive? No, not at all. So then what is dharma? To make that sustenance of the family, everybody has to do their duties, kartavya for sure, right? But then that family also provides opportunities for the individuals involved for what? Prabhava, welfare, upliftment of the individuals who are a part of that system. Unless both of this happen, sustenance won't happen, right? So in a very simple term, every unit that we are a part of has a sustenance, has a dharma principle around it, right? To make any unit survive. Think of it as your organization. We all work for some organizations. We have certain responsibilities that we have to fulfill in an organization, right? When we fulfill those responsibilities, it is not only about rights. It can never only be about rights. Rights have to be earned. Yeah? So when we fulfill our responsibility and the organization grows, there is profit, what we get? Bonus? Zyada bonus, promotion, if everything is working fine. Yeah, let's assume that. Yeah? We get, so basically, we've heard this. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Dharmo eva hato hanti. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. How do we understand this? And please let me say it again. I am not talking about adhyatma or anything. Meri auqat nahi hai us level pe baat karne ki. I just understand what I understand for myself. Yeah, I just want to understand it as the real thing. Main kya kar sakti hu? So think of it from that perspective only. There will be multiple levels in which these concepts are to be understood. I am just talking about one aspect of it. Yeah, just one aspect of it. This is not holistic at all. Yeah. So when we fulfill our responsibilities towards an organization, the organization takes care of us and together we grow. That is when sustenance happens, right? So now this is dharma. Then what is dharma sankata? Right? Now every person, not just person, every system, every unit has a dharma. For example, the dharti, it goes around the sun and it goes around itself. Thoda bhi speed kam ho gaya, hum log nasht ho jayenge. So dharti also has a dharma. Every living being has a dharma, right? Now, human beings are very interesting. We are a part of multiple organizations. Why? Because man is a social animal. We have our family, we have our organization, we have our samaj, we have our rashtra. We are a part of all these units. For the sustenance of all these units, we have some dharma, right? But more often than not, the different dharmas conflict. What do we do? How do we navigate? I work for an organization. I have a big client meeting coming up. My daughter is unwell. What should I do? Simple. What should I do? The same thing, in a way, Arjun is faced with, no? In a way, same thing. His is bigger, ours is smaller, but equally important for us, right? That is where the Dharma Sankat comes. My organizational dharma, my employee dharma, clashes with my Matru dharma. This is what Dharma Sankat is, right? And these Dharma Sankats are very real. How do we navigate? In Mahabharat, why is it so relatable even now? Everybody is going through that. Yeah? Only two people don't realize this. One, because he is himself Yogeshwar, Krishna. He knows what is right, he knows what is wrong, he knows what to do well. Yogeshwar, of course. There is another person who never has a Dharma Sankat. Who's that? No, he's so very conflicted. No, should he be the matriarch, the patriarch of a family? Should he be a warrior? Should he be a sevak? He has lots of Dharma Sankat. Vidur to some extent, yes. So Vidur has a Dharma Sankat, but he knows how to navigate. Yes. Who else? Fantastic. Duryodhan. Duryodhan has no Dharma Sankat. Why? No Dharma. Exactly. No Dharma, no Dharma Sankat. Right? Doesn't matter. No Dharma, no Dharma Sankat. That is Duryodhan. It is not as if he shouldn't have. He should. But he does not because he is very clear about how he is going to make a decision when faced with a Dharma Sankat. Main. All he cares is me. I am the topmost. I am the topmost or kidhar ka kuch bhi ho, I don't fucking care. Sorry. That is exactly how he is, right? My bachas die, I don't care. My family gets destroyed, I don't care. All I care about is my ego satisfied or not, right? So no Dharma Sankat. But others, we all lie in that spectrum, right? We don't know. Because there are two ways. So there is this theory, I had seen a lecture of Dr. George something. He's an Indian origin neuroscientist. I think he's passed away now. And he said, how does learning happen? Or how can we make perfect decisions? And he says, either you have knowledge equal to infinity, or you have intuition equal to infinity. We have none. This is not a perfect world. We cannot have knowledge equal to infinity, right? We don't know the whole thing. We don't know kya hone wala hai aage, right? If we'd known ki iska asar aise hoega, there is a chance we might do the right thing, which is also a question mark only. I know I shouldn't eat that samosa right now. I'll become fat. I still eat, no, in spite of knowing the result. Okay, so that is another thing, the vritti thing, which we will come to, right? The other is intuition. When you've reached the stage of yoga where your intuition is so strong, Yogeshwar level, then you know what is right. Again, we don't have that. None of us have that, right? So we always be somewhere in the middle. Then how do we think about dharma, navigating through Dharma Sankat? As I said, Duryodhan doesn't have a Dharma Sankat. He doesn't think about dharma at all. How about others? Let's look at Dhritarashtra. He's a Raja. He has a Raj Dharma, right? He is a father of Duryodhan. He has a Pita Dharma, of course. He is the uncle of the Pandavas. So he also has a Kutumba Dharma for all of them. And the thing about Dhritarashtra is he understands. He knows he has all these dharma. That is why he is always semi-depressed, let's say. Every now and then he has to call Vidur. Vidur will come and tell him lots of jnani things. He will listen. He'll be very happy. Ki haan, gyan sun liya. Karenge kya? So there is a very good shlok which is not from Mahabharata. And more often than not, it is ascribed to Duryodhan, but it is not Duryodhan. Janami dharma, nachame pravrutti. Janami adharma, nachame nivrutti. मैं जानता हूँ धर्म क्या है, but I can't follow it. मैं जानता हूँ अधर्म भी क्या है. Janami adharma, nachame nivrutti. I can't get out of it. I can't stop it. Okay, so this is not from Mahabharata, but this is a good shloka to actually understand what's going on in Dhritarashtra's mind. In his case, he has decided what his pivot is going to be. Duryodhan is himself. Yeah? For Dhritarashtra, he's decided his pivot is his son. Kuch bhi ho jaye, the kutum vinash ho jaye, putra ke moh mein hai. Putra moh. He cannot get out of it. Okay? So he's decided that is his anchor. And then he says, even if it means the vinash of the kutumba, maybe destiny wants it. That is how he eventually convinces himself. That if destiny wants it, what can I do? Right? Because many times Krishna has told him, Vidur has told him, Krishna tells him, capture this, imprison this son of yours. He will destroy your kutumba. He's like, no. Even when he's born, Vidur has said, give him up. You have 99 other sons and one daughter. Doesn't. Okay? Anyways, that decision was difficult because we don't have full knowledge, right? So can't blame Dhritarashtra for the first decision. So this is Dhritarashtra. How about Bhishma? Bhishma is a very interesting character. Bhishma knows dharma. That is why eventually Shanti Parva is all about Krishna telling Yudhishthir ki go get jnana from him. He knows dharma. Okay? So let's now understand how Bhishma is taking his decisions. What are the different roles that Bhishma has? He is a putra of Shantanu. That's one. Chalo, we can forget that. He now is the patriarch of the Kaurava family, right? So he has that Kutumba Dharma. And he is the sevak, employee of Hastinapur in that sense. He's taken a pratigya that he is the sevak of Hastinapur and he basically lives by that dharma. And the last one is his own pratigya, so to say. Let me separate it out. Okay. At different points in time, let's analyze, taking this one character, how decision making has happened. Okay. So first time when Vichitravirya, his stepbrother, passes away, there is a Dharma Sankat sort of faced कि अब क्या करो? There are two young widows. There is no successor to the throne. What should happen? So Satyavati tells him that you become the Raja, one, and second, you marry these two widows and let them have kids. Okay? He says, no, I can't do that. Meri pratigya. I can't do that. Now in hindsight, it might have been a good decision to take. But knowledge equal to infinity, no. Right? So chalo theek hai. Plus, another important aspect is, was there a substitute available? Yeah. Right? Substitute available hai to theek hai. Na? You can still do what he did. Can't blame him. Then, let's talk about the Draupadi Vastraharan episode. Okay? Draupadi is asking him, Jitam va, api ajitam va. Am I won or am I lost? You tell me. He does not answer. Okay? He does not answer. But remember, Bhishma knows dharma. Okay? Lot of us become very angry कि उन्होंने बताया क्यों नहीं? He should have taken a stand. Now, technically, what Bhishma says, dharmasya gati parama gati. It's a very sukshma gati. Okay? So technically he is right. Because if he says, you are not one, जीता नहीं है तुमको, what would it mean? What is the relation? There is no sanctity to the husband-wife relation then, right? You are breaking up the sanctity of that husband-wife relation. What precedent are you setting? So technically wrong. If he says you are one, then what is the standing of Draupadi there? Right? Everything that the Kauravas have done will get justified. He cannot even do that. Right? So technically, what he does is not wrong. However, at that point, he could have stood up as the patriarch of the family and said, Jo ho raha hai, galat ho raha hai, band karo. As the patriarch, not as the sevak of Hastinapur. He chose his sevak dharma at that time. Similarly, then when the war happens and all that, of course, he tries very hard to stop it. He does a lot of things, which I'm not getting into, to still dissuade the war from happening. Doesn't work, but he still fights. He says, I will not kill the 5 Pandavas, yes, but I will kill like 10,000 soldiers every day. And he does that, yeah. So again, he puts his sevak dharma on the top. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Let's now see what does our man Karna do. I can talk a lot about Karna. If I start, it won't end. What is your opinion about Karna? How much time do I have? Sorry. Okay. What is your opinion of Karna? Huh? Zor se. Oh, then you can tell me something positive about Karna. Then I'm like speaking to the chorus. Good friend. Good friend, that is typically, have you seen this WhatsApp coming every time? Mitra ho to Karna jaisa. They'll say, Mitra ho to Karna jaisa. Arey Baba, this Mitra destroyed your entire family. Right? He had nothing to do with your family. And he led to the destruction of your entire family. Don't even wish it on an enemy, because that will create more problems for you. But now, why am I saying that? Right? Bolne mein to aasan hai. Bolne mein to aasan hai. Why am I saying that? Let's again analyze the pattern of his decision making in some of the key decisions that he took. Okay? We say, ek to we know the Gandharva war. Okay? Gandharva war, he ran away. He said that, oh, I'm very hurt, and he ran away. Chalo, theek hai, self-preservation matters. His life was in danger. But when it came to choosing himself versus his friend, who did he choose? Himself. Right or wrong is not the question. When we say very good friend, from that angle we have to analyze, right? I think maybe that was the right thing to do, to run away. But was it good for the friend? No. Second, Kavach Kundal, Jnani, a Mahadani, right? He knows the war is going to happen. He is the one who's jumping. Yuddha hona chahiye, hona chahiye, hona chahiye. To the extent he is giving, like he is being rude to every single elder of Hastinapur. Because everybody is trying to convince Duryodhan ki yuddha mat karo. He is like, Arey Duryodhan, you don't, main hu na, you don't worry. Okay? Now, main hu na, when he is done and Duryodhan is fighting the war, when it comes to not giving away the Kavach Kundal, because that is his pratigya. Okay? Fair enough. But second side is the interest of your friend. Now, what he did, not right or wrong, baat nahi karte. What would a good friend have done? That is the question. A good friend to begin with would not have pushed his friend into Vinash. That's a different thing. But let's leave that aside. Okay? What would be expected out of a good friend? That you break your pratigya for a war that you have enforced on your friends. Live it, na? He chose himself again. Okay? Let's see one more incident. When the Yuddha is about to happen, they have reached Kurukshetra. Okay? They have reached Kurukshetra, and Duryodhan asks Bhishma, ki you tell me what are the strengths of our side. Bhishma Pitama tells him, Acha, this is a Maharathi, this is a Ardharathi, this is a whatever Rathi and all that. And he says this Karna, he says Karna's son is a Maharathi. Okay? But he says Karna is nothing. Why? Because Karna is very mani and grinny. He has talent. But he's very impulsive. He's very brash. He has a lot of ahankar. Hence, he is not a good warrior. Dronacharya agrees with him. Now, possibly, maybe Bhishma Pitama was in a way, in his way, also trying to help Pandavas in that case, but whatever. What would a good friend have done? A good friend would have said, Chhod yaar, I am fighting this war not for Bhishma Pitama. I am fighting this war for my friend. I will still fight. What did Karna do? Do you know? Karna said, Yavat jivati gangeya na yodhye. I will not fight till Bhishma Pitama is alive. Why? Because he said, I will do parakram, and what will happen? Bhishma Pitama will take the credit for it because he is the Senapati. And he sat out for 10 days of the war which he enforced on the Kaurava family. Is he a good friend? Right or wrong, chhod do. Again, as I said, when we take an example of what dharma was he following? Was he following Mitra Dharma? No. Right? So whenever it came to choose between his ahankar, his ego, he was not different from Duryodhana. He always chose himself, except that one case when Sri Krishna, the one which was beautifully explained yesterday, when Sri Krishna explained to him that you are actually a Kaunteya, right? At that point, he really didn't know what to do. And he was genuinely in a very weird situation. So my sympathies with him in that case. But more often than not, this is what he did. Okay. Now, how should we, let's get into solutions. Let's understand what is the way to deal with it. Problems so bahut hai. We can analyze day in, day out, right? दूसरों को analyze करने में मजा भी आता है. अपने life में क्या करें? That is the question. So, there are some frameworks which we have from within Mahabharata. एक तो ये है कि if you know what is right or wrong, and if you have, as our Rajdeep Sardesai says, right moral compass, then you will know the right decision. You will take the right decision. Okay. But is that really so easy? That also is not easy. To say कि अच्छा हमेशा सत्य बोलो, हमेशा अहिंसा करो, ठीक है? If you have that, कि जैसे some religions we know, do this, do that, आँख बंद करके ये करते रहो, then no problem, right? But our dharma is not like that. And I'll tell you another story. I can take 5 minutes because it's a beautiful story and I love this story. So, on the 17th day of the war, some of you might have heard this, but I'll say it again. On the 17th day of the war, Karna is in full josh. That is the day when he has decided, आज तो अर्जुन से सामना करके ही रहना है. Okay. And he's gone out, defeated Yudhishthira, defeated Nakul, all of them. Bhim, he has actually not defeated. They both are equal. Many times Bhim has made Karna run away, Karna has made Bhim run away and all that. Anyways, but Yudhishthira ko bahut laga. Yeah, Yudhishthira has been wounded. And Yudhishthira has also been hurt. Ki, Arey, this guy has wounded me so much. Yeah. So Yudhishthira has gone back to his camp. Now Bhim and Arjun, they don't see Yudhishthira. So they are like, Arey, bhaiya ko kya ho gaya? Bhratra Shri ko kya ho gaya? Whatever, yeah. And Bhim says, I'll take care of the war front. You go find out. So Krishna and Arjun, they go to see Yudhishthira. Now Yudhishthira is already wounded. Okay? He's almost delusional at that point because he's hurt, his ego is hurt. He sees Arjun coming and he's like, Arey Baba, definitely he's coming to give me good news that Karna is dead. Okay. So he's like, Arey Baba, mera bhai, aja, you killed Karna. And Arjun's like, no, aisa kuch hua nahi hai. I'm yet to even fight him. I just came to see how you are. Now, if you see the whole thing, right, like Shuruat say, Arjun has been dilly-dallying in killing Dronacharya, in killing Bhishma, all of that. Even he's not even giving his best to fight some of it. So Yudhishthira has that in him. Already he's heard. He's like, what's the point of your Gandiva? What use is your Gandiva if you can't even kill Karna? I'm sure you are afraid of him. This is what Yudhishthira is saying. I'm sure you are afraid of him. You only want a reason to run away from him. This Gandiva, give it to somebody else. If instead of you, my Ghatotkach and Abhimanyu were alive, they would have been more useful to me in this war. This is what Yudhishthira is telling Arjun. Okay? Arjun is sitting there. Arjun is very angry. Kshatriya at the end of the day. Garam Rakt. Arjun picks out his sword and he runs towards Yudhishthira. And Krishna is like, oh, hello, kya ho gaya? What are you up to? Kar kya rahe ho? And pratigya, no? Everywhere we see pratigya in Mahabharata. So Arjun says, I had taken a pratigya that whoever tells me to keep my Gandiva, I will kill that person. Sir ched kar dunga. Okay. Now, this is my brother, whatever Kshatriya pratigya, Satya. It has to be Satya. How can a Kshatriya not live up to his pratigya? Right? So I have to kill Yudhishthira. That is Dharma, that is Satya, all that. And Krishna is like, what Dharma, what Satya? Do you even understand? Like he says in the Gita as well, right? Ashochan anvashochasya pragyavadasya bhashase. You think you're very intelligent by saying all these cute words. You don't understand Dharma. Okay? He says, Purvam baleniva vrutakrutam. Pagalo jaisa tu pratigya le liya. Did you ask anybody to ki is pratigya sahi hai ki nahi hai? You took a pratigya. Now what are you doing? Morkhyat, these are the words Krishna uses. He said, Morkhyat adharma sanyuktam karma vivasase. Now you want to do adharma just because you took a stupid pratigya. Let me tell you a story. Now this story is for all of you. You have to tell me what is right or wrong. There is a rishi called Kaushik. Okay? So Kaushik Rishi has taken a pratigya. The pratigya is, I will never speak untruth. हमेशा सच ही बोलूंगा. सच के सिवाय कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा. Now he is old enough. Every entire life he has spoken truth. He is old enough. And what happens? There are some gaonwala, some villagers who come running. They are very scared. They see a rishi sitting there, a sadhu sitting there, and they tell him, Sadhu ji, हम वहाँ जाके छुप रहे हैं. There are some dacoits. There are some dakus who are after us. Please don't tell them. Please tell them to go in some other direction because they are after us. Okay. So he doesn't say anything. He sits there. ये लोग भी भाग जाते हैं. The dakus come. They ask him, Sadhu Mahashay, आपने देखा किसी को? क्या करो? Your entire जीवन you've lived up to the truth. Now your end life, last days of your life, and you have to break your vrat, your pratigya. क्या करना चाहिए? आप सबके लिए क्या करना चाहिए? What should be done? So actually, both of you are very right? Either you don't say anything. This is when Bhishma explains to Yudhishthira about apadharma, sometimes he says, don't say anything. If you can get your work done without saying anything, keep quiet. But when you can't, what do? Say he cannot keep quiet. Kya kare? Should he break his vrata or should he not break his vrata? So let's see what happens. The Kaushik Sadhu says that wo log wahan gaya. I can't break my vrat. And he shows where the villagers are. Villagers get killed. And Kaushik Rishi passes away after some years. Yamraj is like, isko nark mein bhej do. And Kaushik says, Arey wah. You tell me satya is dharma, and now you send me to narak. How is this even fair? And obviously, Yamraj says, what dharma? Yat bhuta hitam tat satyam. Where there is hita of bhuta, that is satya. What satya are you talking about? Because a few poor villagers got killed. That is not satya. So you have to understand what is satya to begin with. Right? Who understands satya? So there is another one which comes. Kaschit dharma adharma rupo asti. Kaschit adharma dharma rupo. Ubhav is dono, both, dharma and adharma. Ubhav gneyam vipaschitaha. A vipaschit knows what is right or wrong. Okay. Now how do you understand that? Krishna says some things. Katham kuru karvani. What does he say? Yogastha kuru karvani. Yogastha kuru karmani, right? Achieve that state of yoga so that you have the objective buddhi to know what is right and wrong, right? But can we get there? We should try. What are the things? Because one thing we must say, I must put a caveat here. Does that mean when it doesn't suit me, I will say untruth? Both of in Gujarati we say Sagvadiyo Dharma, religion of convenience. Doesn't suit me, so I will break. Dusre pe thopunga. Nahin, not at all. Clearly, Krishna says, Satya is Parama Dharma. You should not avoid it, but you should just know what Satya is. As far as possible, you should live by Satya, Asteya, Ahimsa, all of that. Only and only when you have no other way and when you understand what is right or wrong, are you allowed to do that. And he actually talks about few things when you can say it. I'll just add like 2 more minutes after this. So he says one, Vivah Kale. Then he says, Rati Samprayoge. If your wife or if your spouses ask you, am I looking fat? What will you say? You're lying, no? But Krishna is saying, allowing it. As I said, idam na mama, idam Krishnasya. Krishna is giving this approval. Okay. Then he says, whenever life is involved, yeah, when some innocent is getting killed, and when somebody is in a position to lose everything, at that point, you can do some of this. But just the last point, eventually, how do you decide? Many a times we can't. We have to keep trying to become yogastha, achieve that objectivity. But till then, what did Arjun do? That is the way for a lot of us. Arjun goes to Krishna and says, you become my sarthi. Buddhi tu sarthi thi. Right? Buddhi to hoga tab hoga, but let us find a friend like Krishna. And when we find that guide, have the humility to know that what you don't know. The way the way Arjuna approaches Krishna, he says, I am completely dharma samudachita. I don't understand. I'm confused, right? Shishyaste ham shadhi mam tvam prapanna. I do samarpan to you. You guide me. And when that happens, we can some level of yoga sthita we might achieve. Well, there's more to it, but I took a lot of time. Thank you so much. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful talk, Amiji.